This is the Sailing Podcast with David and Karina Anderson, episode number 8. We would love you to come and join us on our journey. Hi everybody, and welcome to the 8th episode of the Sailing Podcast. Thank you for joining Karina and I on our journey. We have a great episode today with a couple who are literally heading out the door and out of the country to get back to their sailing lifestyle. The guests are Ian and Michelle, and they have a Chamberlain-designed 38-foot catamaran named Raku, which they sailed from Australia to Indonesia about 4 years ago, and they haven't looked back since. They set themselves up perfectly by building their own boat, testing it up and down the Queensland coast, and then heading off to their favourite destination, Indonesia. I found out what they were up to from my next-door neighbour, Max. So, Karina invited Ian and Michelle to our house where we did the recording. The whole podcast concept was pretty foreign to them, and I really appreciate them letting us record the conversation and put it up on the internet, as they're fairly private people, and I think we'll all enjoy the update of what's going on in the Southeast Asia cruising scene. You will hear the phone ringing in the middle of the interview, so don't run off looking for the phone as I did when I was listening back to the recording. And you'll also hear some lovely bird sound effects in the background. We're lucky to live in such a beautiful place as Noosa. Let's get straight into the interview today. So like I was saying, it'd be really nice to just hear about how you guys got into sailing. Have you been sailing all your lives?
Well, I started fairly young on skiffs in Victoria.
Oh, okay.
In fresh water.
Like competitively sailing?
No, just playing, just weekend stuff.
Whereabouts in Victoria were you?
The Hume Weir.
Oh, okay.
So right on the border of New South Wales and Victoria.
Yeah. Is that the one near Albury-Wodonga?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I think we went there with a school camp when we were little, didn't we?
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah, so we used to skiff on the lake there and have a lot of fun. And then years later we had a caper cat.
Okay, yeah.
Just up here off the beach.
Yeah. But it was your family was sailing, was your dad? Or
no, not my family at all.
Not your
really,
family?
Just
all right.
me, I just sort of got into it.
Yeah.
And my mum shouted me a week's course at Coochie-Mudlow Island when I was probably about 14. I think we just moved to Queensland. And so I went down there 5 days or something and
great.
learnt the basic fundamentals of sailing small boats.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened then? Then we started going to Indonesia, just flying over and surfing, doing surf trips and things.
Yeah.
And eventually we wanted to get from one island to another, and a boat turned up just while we were talking about it. It was just one of those coincidental things. And we were sitting there in this little lodgement at Nias, actually, and this beautiful little boat was out there, a little Swanson double-ender, and we were just talking to each other going, wouldn't it be nice to be able to jump on that and head down to the Talos where we wanted to go? And the occupants of the boat, we saw them jump in the dinghy and they zoomed right in front of our lodgement, got out of the boat, walked up to us and said, hey, do you guys like to come for a charter?
Oh, really?
It was incredible.
So we jumped on their boat and went down to the Talos and actually ended up chartering for a few weeks.
Were they Australians?
He's a Pommy, she was Canadian. Yeah.
Okay, so they were just out sailing around.
They'd just come across from India, I think, Sri Lanka.
Okay.
And copped a flogging on the way.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's what they did. They sort of pick up charters here and there and go cruising around.
Yeah, we loved it. We ended up spending about 2 weeks with them. But then we were leaving. We were heading back to Australia, and we jumped on a copra boat, which is a boat that goes around the islands and picks up all the coconut and takes it to the mainland. We got a lift back to the mainland on that boat, and from there we had to get on a bus to go further down the island to catch an aeroplane, and we nearly died. It was the most horrendous bus trip we've ever had in our lives, and we just said, we're going to build a boat. We are never doing overland travel again. And so we got back to Australia, and from then on we just planned.
Right.
Just started planning to get a boat.
You'd had a nice little taste of it.
That was only 10 years before we actually ended up with a boat.
Yeah.
Okay.
You didn't end up building your own boat?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You did?
Yeah.
You did? Oh,
Yeah.
wow. So what sort of boat did you build?
It's a Chamberlain, 38-foot Chamberlain.
Oh, so that's the boat you've got now that you built?
Yeah.
Oh, so what's it made out of? I don't know the Chamberlain boat.
It's Western red cedar, strip planked, and then fiberglassed.
Oh.
And ply and foam ply for bulkheads, foam for roof, sort of thing. Yeah.
How wide were the strips that you've done? Are they
They're about 50 mil.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've sort of read up on. I was looking into strip planking, like making a canoe, because it just looked like such an interesting way of building. But you've done a whole boat that way.
Really cool way of building a boat.
Yeah.
Because you can get shape and you can get a lot of shape and curve into it. Because you're just working with fine pieces of timber which you can torque and twist and curve.
Yeah. Oh, dear.
And so you just, if everything's set up properly.
Are you a carpenter by trade or
I'm
something?
a builder.
You're a builder, right?
Yeah.
And where did you find all the timber?
I bought it from Brisbane somewhere, I think.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, just bought it all. It's already stripped up.
Yeah. Dear. So how long was the whole project from starting to build to, say,
Launching.
getting it in the water? Yeah.
It took 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
While you were working as well, like you did it in your spare time?
About 50-50.
Together? I'm saying, Ian,
with
we
both of
did
us.
it together?
Most of it.
Yeah.
Most of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'll come along and do the funny, the
Bits and pieces.
sanding and...
Oh, but that must be really satisfying, no?
I don't do sanding.
I don't anymore either. I refuse.
Yeah, no, very satisfying. It's one of the best things I've ever built, for sure.
So
it is the best thing I've ever built.
So over the stripped cedar, you put glass?
Fiberglass.
Glass as well, yeah.
And then bogged and faired and painted.
So how long has the boat been built for now? Like how old is it now?
It's been in the water nearly 7 years, I
Yeah,
think.
into our 7th year.
Okay, and it's all held up well, but I don't want you to criticise your own building.
No, it's really good.
Structure, it must be.
It's just the aesthetic part. Paintwork is sort of starting to look a bit damp in a few spots and a bit chipped and scuffed here and there. But
Did
that's
you
about it.
spray paint it with
spray.
2-pack?
Yeah.
And it's lasted, got 7 years.
7 years, and in the tropics it's very harsh on a boat up there. It's just so hot and it's wet and it's
So your trip started. So whereabouts did you put the boat in the water?
Noosa River, just right next to the
Noosa
ferry
River.
there.
Right.
You know where the ferry goes to the North Shore.
Yeah.
Just there.
So you launched there about 7 years ago. Am I saying the right numbers?
Yeah, about 7 years.
And what then?
We spent a few months. We had to rig it. Get a rig on it and sails and fix things up and stuff before we first took it out, which was probably 6 weeks or so before we first took it out of the river. Then we just took it out once and went round a bit and came back in. First little jaunt.
Took the sailmaker and the designer with us.
Yeah, it was the worst bar crossing we've ever had.
Nobody would take a boat out in those conditions.
It was crazy conditions, but I was
really?
quite keen to try it. And the sailmaker was a bit of he's a sailor too.
Pushing you to go
He
out.
was, go and give it a go.
Right.
We're just punching into these 3-4 foot sets, snapping onto the sandbar out there.
Green water over the top of the boat. We didn't know if we should be scared or not.
Yeah.
But it went beautifully, of course. Just cut through and we got out.
Does your boat have any keels, or drop keels, or
no?
No
Well, it's got dagger boards.
dagger boards.
Yeah.
Which can you retract them, or
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it actually only draws. The hulls only draw about 450 mils, so it's quite a shallow draft.
Yeah.
With rudders probably draw about 800.
Okay.
So not
So
quite
do you
a
take
metre.
it onto the beach ever?
All the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And the bottom actually holds up, like the 2-pack, the paint
It'd
doesn't
want
get...
to.
I mean, like the paint doesn't just get scratched off when you sit on
No,
the sand?
it's all anti-fouling. It's made to be scratched, so...
Yeah, no, it's all works well. We've got sort of a double anti-foul thing happening now. We've got quite a tough one and then a softer one on top of that.
Okay.
So, yeah. And so, we just launched it and did a little trip and then went for a longer trip.
Went for about four months up through the...
Yeah, we did first we did a couple of small trips, didn't we? Just to DI or Morton?
Morton Island.
Or did we head straight up to the Whitsundays or up north? I can't either.
But there's so much to see anyway, isn't there? I mean, you could chew up 4 months easily just between here and the Whitsundays.
Here and Fraser Island, really.
Yeah.
Well, after being over in Southeast Asia for 4 years, we're really looking forward to coming back to the Queensland coast. Because it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Especially with a boat. It's just fantastic.
Oh, and clear water, there's fish in the ocean, uncrowded. So we're really looking forward to it.
So you were in Southeast Asia for 4 years? You stayed there all the time?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, well, after those first few trials, we spent about 2 or 3 winters heading north, and we'd go Whitsundays, and then the next time we went up as far as Cardwell, Hinchinbrook Island, up around there.
Yeah.
So we'd do these sort of 6 month trips and come back and work and fix things up that we wanted to fix up, fix things up that broke, do alterations and improvements that we wanted, and work and just keep fixing the boat up.
Yeah.
And then one day we thought we'll go to Roti, which is at the bottom end of Kupang, Timor.
Okay.
For a surf trip. Join the Indonesia rally and head across with that.
Yeah.
And so we did that. We got over there and thought, this is really good, let's keep going. So
Well, you make that sound like a short thing, but so you sailed right up the coast, the east coast, and across the Gulf?
Went right up the Cape, which we'd never been. We'd never really been past Hinchinbrook before Cardwell. So went right up that very remote north coast, which was just fantastic.
Right.
It was beautiful.
Except
up
for
there.
the crocodiles.
Oh, they were all right. It's just
They're
part
very
of it.
part of it. Yeah.
Don't forget, you get big mud crabs and barramundi with the crocodiles.
Okay.
So it's worth it.
And
Compromise.
because we were heading for Darwin to join the rally, we were actually on the move. So we spent so much more time in that area. It's fascinating.
Yeah, we had another friend who did the same thing. His goal was to get from here to Darwin, and he's just sort of whizzed up the coast there. But because they leave that trip normally leaves like early in the season too, doesn't it? From July out of Darwin, and so across.
So it was quite good. We met quite a few boats on the way up that were all sort of heading that way to get to Darwin, because I think there was 130 boats in that rally or something. So, you finally you get to meet quite a few on your way there.
Yeah.
So by the time you're in Darwin and everyone's ready to go, you know quite a few of the punters.
Yeah. Well, I think myself, and I've talked to Karina, it sounds like a great way to start as well, because you've got company and a bit of support, and there's a bit of structure there. So it sounds like actually a really good way. I'm sure that you sort of get to an independent stage. It sounds like later.
Well, we got there as soon as we got to Kupang.
Right, you'd had enough of the group thing.
I was going to ask you how you found it, like being with 130 other boats.
We never should have joined the rally. The only reason, because in Australia they push that rally so much that you think it's the only way that you can get into Indonesia.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas it was such a hindrance. Like our boat was impounded for 5 days, and the whole rally was impounded.
130 boats were impounded in Kupang.
Oh dear.
But all these boats were coming through singly, and off they went.
Right.
Not an issue.
Right.
And all this money changes hands, and
it's just the whole Indo thing.
so we actually left the rally after those 5 days.
Okay.
Went off. There were 3 other boats that did the same.
Right.
Yeah.
And never looked back.
All the surfers.
Well, we split off and went the outer surf route, and they all went the inside. On surf route.
So surfing's a passion then?
Yeah.
Okay. For both of you? Do you both surf?
It was. Not anymore.
Right.
Not anymore. Especially when we come back to Australia, I will.
Yeah.
But surfing on reef's too hard for me.
Yeah, it's pretty serious stuff.
Yeah.
That's great.
So you've got to be able to surf properly if you want to surf in Indonesia.
Yeah.
Some of those spots on a boat, because you're just so removed.
And you've got to be, if you get injured, you're stuck, I reckon.
Yeah. Okay. So has that basically been what, I mean, so once you're off by yourselves, how did you know where to go?
You just find out, really, or you look and you work it out. You just look at a chart and go, oh, that looks good. Sail past and have a look, and talking to people.
So when you're looking for a surf break, like how big a surf are you surfing in when you usually...
all breaks are different, and swell size is different depending, so you're just looking for good breaks, I suppose.
A nice clean break.
Yeah. They're all known about
and
pretty well.
Like what's the biggest size you've surfed in Indonesia?
Oh, very big. Like very big.
like
too big.
Yeah, okay then. Dangerous.
Scary big, we'll say that. It's hard to put an actual height on it, but
I always
looks as big as your house, put it that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too big then.
That's
That's too
up near
big.
the top there.
Okay, that's massive. Yeah. So how long can you hold your breath for underwater?
Well, I got put to the test this year, or last year actually.
Right.
Yeah. It was at Asu. I got held down on a very big day.
Right.
Just washing machine through, and I got taken right through the lineup, which was usually okay, but I had water force down the lung, which I was trying to expel in between the waves hitting me, so I couldn't get the water out to get the breath in, so I ended up sort of coming pretty close.
Wow. Yeah, because I think I was talking to my son Jake, but we were looking at one of the big big wave surfers, but they could hold their breath for they trained themselves for an incredible amount of time.
Minutes
I think it was more than 5 minutes they were holding underwater because
they run around holding rocks. Run around the bottom of the ocean carrying rocks.
To train for it.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Okay.
No, I don't do that.
Right. Gee. So, has it mainly been just the two of you on the boat, do you have other people?
Pretty well always the two of us.
Okay.
But every now and again we have friends or family come.
So the boat must be. I mean, you must have set it up really well then for.
Just for the two of us.
Yeah.
Well, it is sort of set up for the two of us now because. It's hard having other people on a boat because it's not a big boat.
Okay.
And we've got it pretty well set up where we have all our living up the top. So our bed's up the top, the kitchen's or the galley's up the top, and all our stuff's down in the hulls.
Okay.
So all the toys and the gear and the food and stores are all down the hull.
Yeah.
And
it's sort of funny then, isn't it? Because if someone comes on the boat, they don't realise that they're really. It's just like coming into your bedroom, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's not like they're just coming into your house. It's like they're just.
It's even a little bit more complex than just a bedroom. There's all these systems and things and ways you do stuff and places things go, and it's a really personal thing.
Yeah, I don't think people that haven't got boats, I don't think they can appreciate how private that little space is.
No, it's quite hard, quite difficult for them to. Because it maintains your life, you're sometimes in some pretty wild situations, and you're in this thing that has all these systems that you can try and work to your advantage to remain alive. That sort of thing, it becomes quite a personal place.
You speak to most people and they say 3 days is the perfect time to have visitors on a boat.
The guests.
Yeah.
But we've got one couple that comes and stays with us that the four of us get on very, very well, and it works. And
But still, we drop them ashore and put them in a bungalow-y thing for a few days, just so everyone has a break.
Yeah.
It's very close.
Yeah, that's right.
Really close. You're in each other's face all day long if you're on the boat.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, they say that 3 days is a good time to have guests in a house.
It's a smelly fish syndrome, I think. It's something like that. 3 days and they go off.
So you've been in Indonesia for the 4 years. Have you been coming back to Australia in that time as well? Have you pretty much been there in both seasons?
No, we actually do about 6 months, like from April, say, till October.
Yeah.
Over in Indonesia, and then we come back to Thailand and Malaysia.
Okay.
And sail between Thailand and Malaysia for 6 months.
Oh, okay.
So basically do a season,
Okay.
6 month season over there.
And that's far enough to sort of swap
Well,
over
it's
the...
long enough. We've had enough of Indonesia after 6 months. It's time to get out and do something different and eat some good food.
Right.
And Thailand and Malaysia are quite interesting too. Well, it's all interesting. So
Yeah. Okay.
But it's not surfing over there. Over there I do a little bit of kiteboarding and snorkeling and fishing and that sort of thing.
All right. So you've pretty much been just staying on the boat back to back sort
Pretty
of seasons.
well, yeah. We came
crossing
back.
over. Wow.
Came back 2 years ago,
Uh-huh.
and I worked for a few months
Yeah.
and did things, and then this is another stint coming back to do a bit of work and
Do you have...
get things sorted
I
out.
wanted to ask you about sort of the cost of living on the boat over that time. It always interests me when I'm trying to sit at home and figure out how much money do I need to get away. Maybe I don't need any. Maybe I just need to get away. But do you... I mean...
we sort of work on about $1,000 a month,
Wow.
basically.
It's less than I would have even thought. I guess
And,
That's in Asia. You can
Yeah.
do it here.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
but that's...
I think you probably could do it here. If you were catching your fish and living quite frugally.
Sailing everywhere, not having to use any fuel.
Yeah, see the fuel thing. The fuel's less than half price over there. So but we don't really use any fuel over there either.
Right.
Fuel costs are just minimal.
Okay.
There's hardly anything because we're sailing just about everywhere.
Yeah.
And in Indonesia, where we go, it's very remote, so you hardly spend a cent.
Wow.
And it's really, once we get back to Thailand and Malaysia, we eat out a lot because the food's so good and there's restaurants and...
You start spending more, but also because the whole Indo thing, you set your boat up for it, you stock the boat up, you service your motors, you get everything working ship shape, and you go and spend 6 months in Indonesia with a stocked up boat. That's why we don't spend much over there.
Yeah.
We catch fish over there, we eat rice and vegetables and fruit. It's all quite simple.
It's probably very healthy as well.
It's healthy.
That's amazing,
And
isn't
surf
it?
all day. It's fantastic.
Yeah, what a lifestyle.
Then we get back to Thailand and Malaysia, and that's where we start servicing motors and paying, revamping things.
Yeah.
And,
Doing
that's why
repairs.
it's more costly back over there than it is in Indonesia. It's like we set up for about 6 months and then come back and work on the boat for sort of 4 or 5
And are you seeing, like, when you're saying that you're going to, like, remote areas, when, just talking about Indonesia again, what's the traffic like? I mean, are there many boats that you're crossing paths with, or just a sort of normal few that you see, or, like, do you feel like you're out in the wide open spaces all to yourself?
Quite often you are. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
Quite often there's just nobody around. Like, in general, each year it gets a few more boats over there as it gets more known. There's also a big reason behind that too. There's a bit of a bottleneck happening in Southeast Asia at the moment because of the piracy.
Yeah,
Red
so
Sea,
people
so-
aren't going through as much as
That's
they
it.
used to.
They, all the round the worlders are getting caught there and going, well, what do we do now?
Yeah, because that's in my mind as much as anyone else's. You go, okay, well, if you continue on, you're making that choice to go right down and under South Africa.
More over the top.
Yeah.
Through the pirate.
Yeah. Do you think, are many people still going through to the Red Sea that you talked to? No, it'd be pretty...
Virtually no one now.
No,
it's just too dodgy.
Yeah, I did hear them talking on the radio the other day about the amount of piracy's dropped, but that's because they were saying... Because
no one's turning up.
Well, they're saying, and a lot of the tankers have now got armed, they're hiring armed guards on deck. Yeah. I'm like, oh, that's great for them. That's... Probably doesn't help the yachties all that much.
No, they were starting to turn towards the yachties, but they're in the marina offices and things in Asia. They now have notices up, like people were trying to get groups to go through. Yeah. And now that's even stopped. And they're trying to get people to work together to get their boats put on container ships and get a cheaper price. Yeah. So that's what they're trying to do now. Or they're selling their boats. Or they're turning and going back the other way, and which is really, really hard because you're sailing against the wind. But
so
or heading over to Indonesia, or back around the other side of Malaysia,
and it's changing their whole plans instead of the round the world trip to maybe we're just going to base ourselves in Southeast Asia for a while and have a look around, just enjoy that.
Yeah.
So I think last year there was possibly maybe
27 boats we counted in Asia.
27 boats. That's up where we're going, up that top end of Sumatra.
Yeah.
The first year there was maybe 6.
Yeah.
So it's, getting
that's busier.
And it used to be just boats with surfers on them, and now it's cruising people.
A couple of cruising people coming up.
And again, just like you say, a backlog of through traffic.
Yeah.
The road's blocked like a ski resort or something that's just been snowed in and you can't get through. Wow.
So it forms these little leaks and you get a few more boats heading over the top of Sumatra there.
Right. So. And how do you find the people? I mean, just
the
are
locals.
You going to the locals? Are you going to lots of sort of remote places?
They're really good. They're beautiful people.
So like when
very simple existence.
Mm-hmm. Do you find yourself like when you arrive at an anchorage? How do you sort of break the ice between you and them? Are they coming out to say hello? Or
they're all different.
Right.
Every place is different.
Yeah.
But often, someone will paddle out and say hello, and you'll start up a conversation. And then you get coconuts brought out, and things get exchanged, and it goes on from there. And then it depends on how long you stay around in an area.
Yeah.
If you stay in an area and want to get to know the people, you will quite easily.
Okay.
Yeah. But it helps to talk a bit of their language too, of course, because they don't speak English out there at all.
You guys have got a bit of a working...
Yeah, enough to strike up a friendship. We've got a few good friends over there.
Right, okay. Oh, that's great. So do you sort of grab a few particular things to take with you to sort of be able to barter and exchange? Like if they're bringing
we've usually got a few things.
We've
usually got a few things to swap.
It's changed over time what they're wanting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because originally it was school books for the kids and pens, colouring pencils,
shirts,
t-shirts, caps,
clothes, that sort of
now it's sunglasses,
okay.
torches, hooks,
diving equipment, goggles and snorkels. The price has gone up.
Okay.
Things that we actually need ourselves, but
that's what they're looking for
that's
now.
What they're looking for. So when we leave, we usually hand things over.
Yeah.
Because we need them ourselves when we're there.
When you're tripping around. Mm.
But we keep a hold of really cheap sunglasses now and things.
Okay.
Just to give them
and often I find them diving and snorkeling, so I just pick things up and go, that'll be worth a lobster.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good trade. Do you find... sorry.
What about the sailing? Like, have you had some pretty hairy experiences sailing, or has it been quite
smooth sailing?
Smooth sailing, yeah.
Oh, we've had some scary times. Generally the sailing's quite alright. It's just things like storms. We don't really dig the night crossings that much, especially up there because there's so much floats and there's big logs in the water and stuff floating around. It's quite grubby, especially through the Malacca Straits there when you're getting across to Sumatra. And there's always big electrical storms out there, and that's about the scariest thing for us, really. We handle the wind so far, but it's the sparks dropping out of the sky that scare us. And there's a lot over there.
Right.
Because the storms come and go very quickly. You know that I think the longest is probably about 3 hours that you'll have a storm that maybe up to 50 knot winds. So you just deal with it and you know it's going to be over soon. Yeah.
But isn't the worst that can happen, like if the lightning hits the mast, it would just put out your electrics, isn't it? Am I being naive?
That's probably
the best that can happen.
All sorts of things can happen.
People actually die from being hit by lightning.
I've never heard of anyone actually on a boat
being paralysed. I've heard of somebody being paralysed by being electrocuted, but
lots of boats do get hit, especially up there. That's a real hot spot for
timber ones can burn to the.
Yeah, I've heard of chain plates being blown off and pinholes through the hull, instant burning to the water, electric's gone or nothing, or just all sorts of different things.
You tell me about those things, David.
It doesn't really happen over here a lot, though.
No, it's not something you really think about much over here. But over there, pretty well every night you can look out and you'll see lightning. So when you're sailing around out there, sometime or other, you know, the storm's going to come across you and be pretty close.
Even at anchor, we'll disconnect all our electronics and things like that. Just you don't know if it's going to help, but you do everything you can to try to save your equipment. And we haven't lost anything yet, which is great.
No, we've had some very close strikes.
Right. So you're saying you'll disconnect things like your radio,
radios,
just
radar,
get the wires so
GPS.
that if it did get into the system, it's not going to run through and burn out.
Well, it might still, because you get this peripheral charge through the atmosphere, and anything with fine electronics inside it can fry just from the charge in the air. Yeah. But there's all sorts of tricks. People put them in microwaves and under terracotta pots and all sorts of things.
All different methods, tried and true.
We were wrapping ours in wetsuits.
Right.
You just never know. But saying that again, the electrical storms are quite beautiful too to watch. It's
great when they're off in the distance.
Yeah, they're spectacular.
When they're coming down on top of you, everything changes.
And finding your way around, what do you use? I mean, do you have an electric sort of charts or just your paper charts, or do you sort of collect information from other people about? I mean,
all the
above. What I mean?
Yeah, we just have everything we can. We have paper charts for everywhere we go.
Is there anybody written like a specific guide to? Just talking about Indonesia, like is there a specific cruiser's guide?
Or is there just a very basic one?
There's a few books.
There's a couple of them,
It's usually word of mouth. People will pass on information of good anchorages, ways to go.
Or you just find out yourself.
Yeah. Well, I guess you guys have got the confidence now. You must have a pretty good routine for coming into an anchorage and who gets somebody go up and take a good look out.
Yeah, no, we've got all that sorted out for new anchorages and things. And you just try and make sure if you are making landfall that you haven't been to or you don't know, you just make sure you get there in
daytime
best conditions possible. Yeah.
It's not nice coming into a new anchorage in the dark. We've done that a few times and it's
bad.
It's bad.
So,
especially if it's reef.
Yeah. But as soon as you know a place, I've usually not got a problem with it, as long as you know that you've been there before. It also depends on how dark the night is too. Right. Sometimes it's blacker than you think and you go, geez, where are we? How close are we?
How far ahead do you actually plan what you're doing? I mean, I'm sort of digging into this wonderful lifestyle, it sounds like to me. So like when you get to, I mean, how much have you planned anyway to go from point to point, or do you just sort of on a weekly basis go, we might head over there, or...
Well, here's a good example. We're about to fly back there on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And we're going to start bringing our boat back to Australia.
Okay.
We haven't even looked into our charts yet.
Right.
So...
It's just a general trend.
It's as soon as...
You make a decision.
You make a decision and then you work towards it. Like, we'll get back there and over the next couple of weeks we'll get charts together. We'll talk to people, if there's anybody around still.
Yeah.
Most people have gone off and they're doing what they do because it's the monsoon season.
Okay, yeah, you're trying to get out of that.
And we'll start planning. So,
right.
Yeah, a couple of weeks.
So you guys must have to be pretty flexible. And
you have to be flexible because you might change your plans tomorrow.
Yeah.
We've changed our plans 3 times in the last 4 months, haven't we?
Just for what we're up to.
What we're up,
Probably
next.
more than that. But we're not even sure which route we're going to take to get back yet. We're sort of discussing that and talking to people and
that's great.
weighing our options. So really, you could say day to day.
Your boat's in Langkawi, did you say?
Yeah.
I read a lot about people going to Langkawi. Is there some special... Is there something special about leaving your boat there? Why has that become the main...
Well...
A good choice, not the main choice, but it seems to be a pretty common...
It's cheap.
Place.
It's duty free.
Yeah, is that something specific to that little island or something, is it?
Basically, yeah, pretty well.
Yeah, it's a duty-free island.
Yeah.
It's got a very good airport.
Right, okay, so you can get there easily.
Very easily, and then it's right on the border of Thailand, so you can just step into Thailand.
Do you guys sail up into Thailand as well?
Yeah, that's where we spend a fair bit of our time. We don't really spend much. Malaysia's for restocking and fixing things, and then we head up into Thailand.
Up into Thailand, some more
go
popular
adventuring.
place. Okay.
Yeah.
The people in Langkawi are very, very nice too.
Right.
It's very easy to get your boats fixed there and get work done on your boat and
do things.
Have you guys been over to the Andaman Islands?
No.
Okay.
We were planning to, but people that keep coming back came back last year and said that a lot of the coral's bleached over there now.
Oh, really? Okay. I just heard little bits. I was talking to a friend and he was telling me about how he wanted to sail over there. But he said it's not all open anyway.
No, you're very restricted on where you can go.
Yeah.
You've got to radio in to the authorities.
Right. Because do you know the story of the area there at all? I can't remember what he told me, but the people there even have a fairly closed...
to...
He might mean the Nicobar's. There's the Andaman Islands and then just south.
No, it's the same thing in the Nicobar, in the Andamans. There's local people that they try and keep
isolated, don't they?
And that's why you're only allowed particular places when you go there.
Right.
That's another reason we haven't been there. It seems quite restricted.
Yeah.
You've only got a month
of
your visa, and then you're restricted where you can go, and you've got to call in each day, and it seems like they've sort of got you under the thumb a bit, so you can't just cruise off. And
is that? Do you know if it's? I'm asking you. I don't know if you know, but are the Andaman Islands sort of managed by Thailand, or
India.
are they by India? That's right. I knew it was something funny.
Yeah, it's Indian.
Okay, so it's Indian. Yeah. Okay. But just on visas, because how do you go with visas? Sort of heading in and out of Indonesia. How long are you allowed to stay in Indonesia when you sail in?
It depends on how much money you pay.
Okay.
And how long?
A bit of flexibility in there.
You get
6 months. Yeah, that's perfect.
Well, the 6 months. They have all
and
sorts of different visas.
Right.
Social visa is 6 months.
Okay. And then when you cross and you head into Malaysia, you can get the same thing there.
They give you 3 months.
3 months for you and indefinite for the boat.
Boat stays forever.
Because that's what I wasn't sure whether it was just in Langkawi that was unrestricted for boats, or is it pretty much
the whole of Malaysia,
all along the coast of Malaysia?
Yeah.
Well, that's good for them because it's going to encourage people to go
sailing
there as well.
Whereas in Indonesia, to have a cruising permit,
It's
which
called
lasts
a case.
for 3 months. Mm-hmm. That costs you about $150 every 3 months now.
Right.
To have your
So
boat.
you've got to have 2 of those if you want to stay for 6 months.
Yeah.
And then you've got to have a sponsor, and you've got to have a personal visa. It's very expensive to cruise in Indonesia, as in the fees.
Right. The whole package for 2 of us and the boat. Yeah, you're up for 6 months. You're up for a couple of $1,000.
No, about $1,000. That's about the, and that's Malaysia's free. You don't pay a cent in Malaysia, and Thailand is
quite cheap, $10 or something.
They're charging for a visa now, which is 80 US.
That's for 2 months. You can still go in there for a month.
That's
without a visa.
Without a visa.
Month on arrival.
Yeah.
Have you never been tempted to sail on and around the world?
No.
Not really.
Not something that interests you? You're just happy to head back. What will you do? You think you'll sail your boat back to Australia, and any plans then, or is that just too far ahead? You think you go? Oh, nice.
Yeah. We'll just come back and start playing the Pacific a bit.
Yeah,
but regroup a bit, have a bit of land time, get back into Australia again.
Excellent.
Then
do the Queensland coast for a while.
Yeah, like I say, there's a lot to see, isn't there?
Yeah. Do that area up north a little bit too. Because you sort of forget how beautiful it is right up there, and because when we did that trip, we spent so much time on waters that we'd already been in.
Yes.
We need to go up and check that.
Yeah, there's a lot of good places to look at up there, so that's pretty wild.
Oh, it sounds like you've got some great plans ahead. Great plans afoot.
Yeah.
Didn't tell us the name of your boat. What's your boat's name?
Raku.
Raku.
Yeah.
What's that name from? Has it got a good story to it?
Yeah, it's got many meanings actually.
Yeah.
We keep hearing different ones.
Okay.
But,
it is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what it means.
Basically.
Oh, okay. Raku, it is what it is. I'd like to thank Ian and Michelle for letting us know about their sailing experiences, and just to prove how private their travels are, I can't even find a trace of them on the internet, which just goes to show they're really just out there doing it for the pure joy of sailing and being free to travel around to their favourite surfing locations. The show notes will be at the website, thesailingpodcast.com/sailing Indonesia. And I'll just have to find a photo of mine to put there for now, because I don't even have a photo of their yacht as yet. The Sail Indonesia Rally, it's a very popular one with Australians and cruisers heading out of Australia. So I've put a link on the website to where you can find additional information about the rally. Their website is at www.sailindonesia.net. I think the visa issue they spoke about was just a temporary glitch, and now I think the rally is really well organised, and it's a great stepping stone into the Southeast Asian sailing scene. I found the information about sailing through the Red Sea really interesting. Such a shame that so many people have to change their round-the-world plans due to the piracy problems. It definitely doesn't seem to be worth the risk sailing through there. I guess you really only have the options of heading south and going down under Africa, or as I mentioned, you might have to look at other options such as selling your boat, or I guess there's some ways to ship your vessel on a container ship to get to the Med. Don't forget to visit us on Facebook, www.facebook.com/The Sailing Podcast. And you can find us on iTunes by going to our website, thesailingpodcast.com/iTunes. That'll redirect you to our listing on iTunes. Of course, you can always contact me via email, david@thesailingpodcast.com. You can link up with me on Google Plus using that address as well. Thanks for listening. I hope you have a great day, and thank you for joining us on our journey. You've been listening to David and Karina Anderson of The Sailing Podcast.